This is Catholic Challenge, a quiz show that tests your knowledge of the Catholic faith. From altar to zealot and amice to wimple, we've got the questions to test your mettle. Take up your shield and raise your sword. It's time to stand firm in the glory of the Lord. Are you up to the challenge? Catholic Challenge 2.0 is here. Are you ready? And now, here is your host, Barbara G.
Hello and welcome to Catholic Challenge 2.0, an exclusive production of the Living Bread Radio Network. I'm your host, Barbara G., and with me today is my co-host, PJ Chavez. Hey, PJ.
Well, hello, Barbara.
Good to see you today.
Oh, good to see you.
Listeners, we're going to spend the next 30 minutes testing your knowledge of the Catholic faith. I hope you're up to the challenge. But before we get started, you need to know how to play the game. So, PJ, let's give our listeners the rules.
All right, well, here are the rules. We will ask 10 multiple-choice questions in the first 3 rounds. Each correct answer is worth 10 points. For classroom, homeschooling, or team play, you can download our free scoring sheet at livingbreadradio.com. The 4th and final round is the challenge round. This round increases the difficulty since no multiple-choice answers will be provided, and each correct answer in that round will be worth 30 points.
Okay, thanks, PJ.
Thank you.
Alrighty, listeners, are you ready? Let's get started. Round 1 begins right now. Question number 1. A cardinal plays an important role in the church. What is one of his duties? Clean the Vatican? Elect a new pope? Or drive the Pope? And the answer is elect a new Pope. The primary responsibility of the cardinals is to elect a new Pope. During the process, they are not allowed to vote for themselves. Question number 2. What is the title of the first book of the Bible? Matthew, Genesis, or Revelation? And the answer is Genesis. The book of Genesis is Judaism's story about the creation of the world as we know it and how Jewish people came to exist on the planet. Question number 3. In which country was St. Thomas the Apostle martyred according to tradition? India, China, or Ethiopia? And the answer is India. Thomas was one of the original 12 apostles, and he was stabbed to death by Hindu priests in Mylapore. Question number 4. True or false? Only those born into the Christian faith qualify for sainthood. And the answer is false. Those who have converted are equally qualified as long as they meet all the other criteria that are required by the Church. Question number 5. Which of Jesus' 12 apostles betrayed him? Andrew, Thomas, or Judas? And the answer is Judas. The apostle Judas Iscariot is believed to have hung himself afterward.
Question number 6. In which country was Pope St. John Paul II born? Was it Italy, Poland, or Argentina? And the answer is Poland. He was born May 18th, 1920, and was Pope from 1978 until his passing in 2005. Question number 7. True or false? At the second station of the cross, Simon of Cyrene helps Jesus with his physical burden and carries his cross. And the answer is false. Simon helps Jesus carry the cross starting at the 5th station. Question number 8. Which of the 12 apostles is not recognized as a saint? Thomas, Linus or Judas? And the answer is Judas. His betrayal of Christ disqualified Judas from sainthood. Question number 9. How many testaments are there in a Bible? 23, 2, or 46? And the answer is 2. There are 2 testaments, the Old and the New Testament. Question number 10. From James chapter 2, it says, "What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith, but has no," what? They have no money, works, or time. And the answer is works. This verse comes from the classic debate in James about whether a person needs faith alone or if they need to add good deeds to that faith.
Okay, that wraps up round number 1. We're going to take our first break. Before we go to the break, we're going to leave you with a bonus question that's worth 25 points. Here's your bonus question. According to canon law, when is it required for Catholics to attend Holy Mass? We'll give you the answer when we come back. You're listening to Catholic Challenge 2.0 on the Living Bread Radio Network.
It's one of a kind, and it's available anywhere, anytime. From sacred hymns to contemporary favorites, it's great Catholic music. Listen at greatcatholicmusic.com. Download the free app or ask any Alexa-enabled device to play great Catholic music. Draw closer to our Lord through beautiful music. It's the perfect way to listen at home with your family, at work, in the car, or during your daily devotions. Bless your day with great Catholic music.
Welcome back to Catholic Challenge 2.0 here on the Living Bread Radio Network. We just finished round 1 and went to break, but before we went to break, we left you with a bonus question worth 25 points. PJ, let's give our listeners the answer.
All right. According to canon law, when is it required for Catholics to attend Holy Mass? The answer is on Sundays and holy days. Now, in addition to Sunday, there's a list of feast days in Canon Law 1246 that are to be observed as holy days of obligation.
Okay, I hope you got that one right. That's very, very important. We're going to move into round 2 here, but before we do that, I want to remind you to download our free scoring sheet at livingbreadradio.com, and you can play the game with your friends. Learn the faith and have fun. Okay, let's move into round number 2. Here we go. Question number 1. To what creature does the word ichthus refer? Dragon, a fish, or dove? And the answer is the fish. The fish has served as a symbol of Christianity for almost 2 millennia. Question number 2. On what day do Catholics celebrate Jesus' resurrection? Easter, Passover, or Epiphany? And the answer is Easter. Easter is a day of celebration because it represents the fulfillment of our faith as Christians. In 1 Corinthians, St. Paul wrote that, "Unless Christ rose from the dead, our faith is in vain." Question number 3. On which day of the year do we celebrate the feast of Our Lady of Lourdes? March 25th, February 11th, or August 15th? And the answer is February 11th. The year was 1858. Our Lady repeatedly asked Bernadette to pray for the conversion of sinners and asked for penance for sins. Question number 4. Which commandment forbids you from being jealous, greedy, or envious of someone else's possessions? 8th, 9th, or 10th? And the answer is the 10th. The 10th commandment states, Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. It essentially means don't want what your friends or strangers have. Question number 5. True or false? If a priest has the initials S.J. after his name, it means he is a follower of Saint Joseph. And the answer is false. The SJ is an abbreviation for the Society of Jesus, which is more commonly known as the Jesuits.
Question number 6. Ravens brought food to which Old Testament prophet? Was it Daniel, Samuel, or Elijah? And the answer is Elijah. In 1 Kings chapter 17, it says, ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning, and bread and meat in the evening. Question number 7. Where in the world did Catholicism originate? Was it Greece, Judea, or Saudi Arabia? And the answer is Judea. Because Jesus was born in Jerusalem, Judea, that is where the religion began. Question number 8. True or false? Abraham is identified as the author of the Pentateuch. And the answer is false. Moses led the people out of slavery and conversed with God from time to time. He also found time to write down the words God wanted to share with his people. Question number 9. What did John the Baptist eat in the desert? Was it locusts, cactus, or bread? And the answer is locusts. Matthew 3 explains that John the Baptist wore a garment of camel's hair, and his food was locusts and honey. Question number 10. Which location is considered the center of the Catholic Church? Is it Notre Dame, Vatican City, or Washington, D.C.? And the answer is Vatican City. Vatican City State was established in 1929 following the Lateran Pacts, signed by the Italian dictator Benito Mussolini and Pope Pius XI.
Okay, that wraps up round number 2. We're going to take our second break, but before we take that break, we're going to leave you with another bonus question worth 25 points. Here's your bonus question. How often are you required to go to confession? We'll give you the answer on the other side of the break. You're listening to Catholic Challenge 2.0 on the Living Bread Radio Network.
This year marks 20 years that Living Bread Radio Network has been proclaiming the truth of Jesus Christ through our programs, podcasts, and GreatCatholicMusic.com. We connect with you and countless numbers of faithful in Northeast Ohio, across the country, and around the world. Every day we continue our commitment to share the gospel message. And your commitment to Living Bread Radio is invaluable. Go to livingbreadradio.com and click the donate button. Be part of the next 20 years at livingbreadradio.com.
Welcome back to Catholic Challenge 2.0 here on the Living Bread Radio Network. We just wrapped up round number 2 of our match, and before we went to break, we left you with a bonus question. PJ, let's give our listeners the answer.
All right, the question, how often are you required to go to confession? The answer is once a year. Catholics are required to receive the sacrament at least once per year. However, all are encouraged to take advantage of the sacrament on a regular or frequent basis.
Right, yes.
I know I want to.
Once a month is a good thing. Okay, but required once a year. Alrighty, let's move into round number 3. Begins right now. Question number 1. From Genesis chapter 32, during Jacob's struggle with the angel, the hollow of which part of Jacob's body was touched and put out of joint? His neck, his hip, or elbow? And the answer is his hip. Genesis chapter 32, verse 26. When the man saw that he could not prevail over him, he struck Jacob's hip at its socket, so that Jacob's socket was dislocated as he wrestled with him. Question number 2. What are schisms? Priest clothing, an illness, or a formal split? And the answer is a formal split. Christianity went through a schism in 1054, when Christianity was split into Catholic and Orthodox sects. Question number 3. Who succeeded St. Peter as Pope? Innocent, Linus, or Cletus? And the answer is Linus. Linus ascended to the papal throne in AD 67 upon the martyrdom of St. Peter 3 years prior. Question number 4. True or false? The 4 marks of the Church are 1. Holy, Catholic, and Charismatic. And the answer is false. The 4 marks of the Church are 1. Holy, Catholic, and Apostolic. Question number 5. What was St. Paul's profession before his conversion? Was he a fisherman, tent maker, or carpenter? And the answer is tent maker. From Acts chapter 18, talking about his visit to Aquila and Priscilla in Italy, it says, he practiced the same trade, stayed with them, and worked, for they were tent makers by trade.
Question number 6. Which commandment are you breaking if you commit murder? Is it the 4th, the 5th, or the 6th commandment? And the answer is the 5th commandment. The most notable commandment, thou shalt not kill, sits right in the middle of the 10. Not killing includes abortion and euthanasia. Question number 7. True or false? The teachings of Protestant reformers such as Martin Luther were condemned as heresy at the Council of Trent. And the answer is true. The Council of Trent, held in an Italian city of that name, came about largely because of Martin Luther. Question number 8. Who is the patron saint of the Church? Is it the Blessed Virgin Mary, Saint Joseph, or Saint Peter? And the answer is Saint Joseph. Joseph, husband of the Blessed Virgin, was made patron of the Universal Church by Pope Pius IX in 1870. Question number 9. What is the name of the meeting during which a new pope is elected? Is it a convention, a conclave, or an exposition? And the answer is a conclave. The gatherings of cardinals during which a new pope is voted on and elected is called a papal conclave. These meetings are held in the Sistine Chapel. Question number 10. What was the Apostle Peter's original name? Was it Simon, Jonas, or Paul? And the answer is Simon. The name Peter comes from the Aramaic term for rock, and Simon comes from the Greek for hearing.
Okay, that ends round number 3. We're going to take our final break, but before we take that break, we're going to leave you with one more bonus question worth 25 points. Here's your bonus question. Which commandment tells you to honor your parents? We'll give you the answer when we come back. You're listening to Catholic Challenge 2.0 on the Living Bread Radio Network.
It's the first platform of its kind anywhere. It's great Catholic music. your home for sacred hymns and contemporary favorites 24 hours a day. A great way to draw closer to the Lord through beautiful music. It's perfect to listen to at home, with the kids, at work, or during your daily devotions. Listen any time of day at greatcatholicmusic.com. Download the free app or ask any Alexa-enabled device to play great Catholic music.
Welcome back to Catholic Challenge 2.0 here on the Living Bread Radio Network. We just wrapped up round number 3. I hope you're doing well, scoring well. Before we went to break, we left you with a bonus question. So, PJ, let's give our listeners the answer.
All right, the question, which commandment tells you to honor your parents? The answer is the 4th commandment. According to the Old Testament, it says that the 4th commandment is honor thy father and mother.
Okay, good one to pay attention to. 4th commandment. Alrighty. We're going to move into the challenge round. Before we do that, I want to remind you that you can listen to Catholic Challenge 2.0 at any podcast, whatever your podcast provider is. You can just say play Catholic Challenge 2.0. Listen to the latest one. Okay, we're going to move here into the challenge round. PJ, this is a little different, so let's give our listeners the rules to the challenge round.
Absolutely. So again, the 4th and final round is our challenge round. Now, this round increases the difficulty since no multiple choice answers will be provided, and each correct answer in this round is worth 30 points.
Okay, here we go. Question number 1. Catholicism is one of the major branches of Christianity. How many other branches are there? And the answer is 2. There are 3 branches of Christianity in total: Catholic, Protestant, and Orthodox.
Question number 2. How many popes have there been throughout history? And the answer is 266. There has been an active pope in the world since the 1st century. They've come from all over the world, but the majority have come from Italy.
Question number 3. Which archangel is the patron saint of the blind? And the answer is Raphael. Raphael is mentioned in the book of Tobias. This is not included in Protestant Bibles, so some of you may not know that there was a 3rd archangel mentioned in the scriptures.
Question number 4. God told Abraham that his children would be as numerous as what 2 things? And the answer, they are the stars and the sand. From Genesis chapter 22, I will bless you, make your descendants as countless as the stars of the sky and the sands of the seashore.
Question number 5. Which prayer do you recite on the large beads of the rosary? And the answer is the Our Father. There are 6 Our Fathers prayed in the rosary. There's typically one more as a prayer for the Pope.
Question number 6. What is the common link between the apostles Simon and Peter? And the answer is they are the same person. Simon's name was changed to Peter in Matthew 16 because Jesus wanted to highlight the important role Peter would have in the early church.
Question number 7. Which Eastern European country venerates Mary with the title of Our Lady of Czestochowa? And the answer is Poland. According to tradition, the painting was a portrait of Our Lady done by St. John sometime after the crucifixion of our Lord.
Question number 8. Sacraments are very important in the Catholic Church. How many are there? And the answer is 7. These are split into 3 different types: the sacraments of initiation, the sacraments of healing, and the sacraments of service.
Question number 9. How many commandments are there in the Decalogue? The answer is 10. While there are more than 600 total commandments, the Decalogue is made up of the 10 commandments that most Catholics know and by which they live.
Question number 10. There are many popes buried in St. Peter's Basilica. What is unusual about the coffin of Pope John the 23rd? And the answer is that it's made of glass. The bodies of Pope Pius X and Pope Innocent XI can also be viewed by the public in glass coffins.
Question number 11. What Catholic religious order did Martin Luther belong to before he broke from the Church? And the answer is Augustinian. Martin Luther was an Augustinian monk before his separation from the Church. Okay, that sound means we've run out of time, PJ. Let's give our listeners the last question.
All right, the last question. Which saint is considered to be the first Christian martyr? And the answer is Saint Stephen. Stephen was stoned to death for his beliefs. Ironically, St. Paul oversaw the stoning prior to his conversion along the road to Damascus. The story is related in the Acts of the Apostles.
Okay, listeners, I hope you did well. That wraps up our match today. Remember, we're always learning new things about Jesus and his church, and if you keep listening to Catholic Challenge 2.0, you'll learn something new every time you listen. Thanks for joining us today, and tune in next time for another edition of Catholic Challenge 2.0 on the Living Bread Radio Network. For my co-host, PJ Chavez, I'm your host, Barbara G. Praise be Jesus Christ.
A production of the Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio. For a podcast or archive of this program, go to livingbreadradio.com and join us next week for another edition of Catholic Challenge 2.0.